Shrek, one of the most iconic animated films of all time. We all know the story. A movie made by Jeffrey Katzenberg is a giant middle finger to both Disney and Michael Eisner that ended up winning the first ever Academy Award for Best Animated Feature Film. And hey, Shrek was legitimately a funny, subversive, and emotionally driven film. It spawned an amazing sequel, a god-awful sequel, an incredibly underrated finale, and an average spin-off film. But you know what it means when a film series is successful in the 2000s? Video games, that's what. And The Big Green Ogre was certainly no exception to that. Funny story, so I had the brilliant idea to make a video on a bunch of different Shrek games, so I went to my local Play and Trade and got every Shrek game that I could find. And let me tell you, the cashier's reaction to this bizarre purchase had us laughing like idiots. They even asked me to take a picture of all the games I got. That was a fun day. So while we won't be looking at every Shrek game out there, I'll at least try to look at some of the bigger ones. With that said, I'm arinthewolf, and this is the mediocre World of Shrek games. Let's start with what's considered a launch title for the original Xbox, simply titled Shrek, or as I like to call it, Shreksbox. I actually owned this game back when I was a kid, so that'll be interesting going back to it. Now, this game is quite an interesting piece of media. For starters, on the front cover it says new characters designed by Todd McFarlane. Yes, the same Todd McFarlane that created frickin' Spawn designed characters for a Shrek game on the Xbox. That would be crazy enough, but it doesn't end there. The game was also developed by DICE, the same developers of Battlefield, Star Wars Battlefront, and Mirror's Edge. Well damn, with all that in mind, the game must be pretty freaking sweet, right? Let's start with the plot. The game takes place after the first film's events, and Fiona has been captured by Merlin. Merlin would also later show up in Shrek the Turd, which makes this version of Merlin retroactively hilarious to see. To rescue Fiona from Merlin's clutches, Shrek must perform good deeds to gain access to Merlin's tower. Also, gotta love this title screen. That's exactly what I think of when I think Shrek. Earwax. Now, right off the bat, I've got to talk about how this game controls. Being a big, lumpy ogre, you'd be surprised to see that Shrek moves damn fast in this game. When you're running in a straight line, the running speed is pretty alright, but as soon as you turn it a little bit diagonally, he takes off so fast he could give Sonic a run for his money. Then there's also the case for his wall jump. Yes, Shrek can wall jump in this game. In most 3D platformers, the wall jump has a nice pushback that also doesn't feel too powerful, which works for wall jumping. In Shreksbox, however, you more so launch yourself from the wall you're jumping from, which can make even the simplest wall jumps nearly impossible to do. Considering how slippery Shrek is in this game, it makes most platforming an absolute cluster truck. As I said before, your main objective in this game is to perform good deeds. Yeah, because Shrek is wildly known for being the merriest man in the whole kingdom. That in itself is weird enough, but some of the things that the game considers to be good deeds in this game are kind of weird. Like, there's a mission in the game where you have to fart on a dancing cow.
Old MacDonald swung open his door with anger. That stupid cow. Every night she jumps over the moon and dances in my cornfield. I can't sleep at night. Shrek, do me a favor and pass some gas on her when she's out dancing. That'll teach her a lesson. I'm on my way, Shrek exclaimed.
Even for Shrek, that is just strange. Oh yeah, there are also dedicated buttons to just farting and burping. You could even create explosive farts by eating hot chili peppers and burping on your farts. This is a real game, yes. In all honesty, I did enjoy my time with the game since you could just beat up anybody you see and kick them into orbit. I wish more games nowadays would just let you punch everyone around you just for the hell of it. That said, even that has its share of problems. As you get further into the game, you'll soon realize that you can't kill a single enemy in the game. It doesn't matter how much you pummel them to death, they will always get back up. That's weirdly inspiring, but for the sake of the gameplay, it's a detriment. Some of these missions require you to keep enemies at bay, but since you can't kill anyone, it makes it such a pain to do. I mean, the game itself is T-rated already, so would being able to kill people give the game an M rating? I mean, there's nothing in this game to justify it being T-rated in the first place. Whatever the case, all of these problems add up to a game that is just a hot mess. That said, this game was considered revolutionary at the time. Shrek on Xbox was one of the first games to use deferred shading, meaning the game could handle real-time lighting changes without dropping in frames. Most games nowadays can't even do that. But all in all, Shrek Xbox may be fun when you're just screwing around, but when it comes to the main objective, it's too flawed to be all that fun. And I'll be real, outside of Shrek and the magic mirror, it has almost nothing to do with the film. You could put anyone else in this game and it wouldn't be any different. But hey, maybe the next game will be better, right? This is Shrek Treasure Hunt on the PS1, which was released in 2002. Being a PS1 game released 2 years after the PS2 does inspire hope, doesn't it? Well, no, because this game is exactly as gross as Shrek's mud baths. I mean, look at this frame rate. This choppy 15 frames at best frame rate is so ugly to look at. I mean, Crash Bandicoot Warped looks better than this, and that came out 4 years before. So how does a game like this look as bad as it does? Whatever the case, it doesn't help that the game controls even worse than Shrek Xbox. You chug along in the overworld as gracefully as a dump truck on its last legs. Not to mention, you could only jump and run. Also, do you like how you couldn't kill anyone in Shrek's box? Well, you can't even so much attack enemies in this game at all. Well, then again, they can't kill you either, so you just kinda awkwardly bump into them. In case you couldn't tell, you're supposed to be collecting items in the overworld to unlock minigames to progress the game. First off, collecting these items is a distraction at best. They're mostly just on the ground in a straight line with no clever thought as to where they should be placed. Once you do get to the minigames, they are pathetic. I only recorded 2 of the minigames simply because of how much nothing this game has. It's not even fun to screw around in this game like Shrek's box. It's just awful. So frankly, I'm just gonna move on. I'd rather watch Shrek the Musical than play this game again. Alright, next up, we have Shrek Super Party on the PS2. Yeah, every big franchise during the 2000s at some point had a mediocre party game. So the game starts off with a pretty decent FMV and... Why? Who thought it was a good idea to make all the characters bobbleheads? And why? Now that in itself is already a big turnoff from wanting to play this game, but surely the gameplay is almost, if not as good as Mario Party, right? Well, don't quote me on this, but no. So with this game, I'll just simply list off the many things wrong with it, because trying to organically transition between them is just too much to ask, okay? Firstly, at the start of the match, you are given a choice between different routes, so it already kind of defeats the purpose of being a party game if you can't even interact with your opponents on the board. Secondly, instead of giving you a simple dice to roll, you instead throw a ball onto a board that already shows you what's that many spaces ahead, taking the suspense out of the equation. Thirdly, you don't play a minigame after everyone's turn like in Mario Party. Instead, you have to land in a specific space to trigger them in the first place, meaning you could spend more time playing minigames than being on the board itself. Fourthly, when you do get a minigame, the rule screen doesn't show you what you'll be doing during the minigame, so you better have some idea how to play these minigames. Fifthly, the minigames themselves aren't very good. When they are completely chaotic and confusing, they're just so boring. Sixthly, the main goal of the match is to be the first to grab 500 bugs, which you can earn bugs by reaching the end of a route or by winning minigames and being able to trade for better bugs with bigger points. While it sounds like an intriguing way to be different than Mario Party, it really isn't. Since there's no round limit at all, you could be spending up to an hour just running through the different routes, not getting anything done whatsoever. In short, Shrek Super Party, while it does try to be more than a Mario Party ripoff, doesn't do so in a way that feels either satisfying or even fun. While it is a more competent Mario Party clone, it's not something I ever want to go back to. Why don't we move on to a much better licensed game, Shrek 2 on the GameCube. This is another game that I played during my childhood while I was over at a friend's house. I mean, we couldn't make it past the first level, but it was certainly a fond childhood memory of mine. Unlike the last few games we looked at, Shrek 2 actually follows the film's main plot while still taking some creative liberties. About damn time, honestly. Graphically speaking, while it's nothing revolutionary like Shrek Xbox, it still looks decent for the time. As far as the gameplay is concerned, Shrek 2 is a 3D beat-em-up where you collect items and complete objectives with 4 different characters, each with their unique set of abilities. Each level has its own set of objectives to complete and special characters specifically for the game, like Little Red Riding Hood. At the end of a level, you'll enter the level's finale called Hero Time. In Hero Time, you play as one of the characters where they get to show off their unique abilities. These segments include Fiona singing to blow up some birds, Donkey riding his dragon wife to save Fiona, God, that just sounds so gross, and Shrek throwing a bunch of drunk mooks into a carriage. As a whole, the game itself is definitely one of the better Shrek games out there. I mean, come on, you can punch the eyeballs out of slugs and boil chickens alive. Unless you're vegan, how can you not love that? With that said, the game still has its problems. Like, your movement is really damn slow in this game, which wouldn't be a problem if it weren't for the fact that it makes basic platforming almost impossible half the time. In particular, some of these levels, like the Far Far Away level where you do Task for the King, can go on for ages because of how slow you move. Not to mention that some of the missions just plain suck, like having to protect Cinderella while she window shops. Like, come on, the shops don't seem to be closed, so why doesn't she just go into the shops and get a closer look like any regular person would? But in conclusion, Shrek 2 is undoubtedly one of the better licensed games out there. It looks decent, plays decently, and takes the plot of the film in a unique and fun direction. While it isn't perfect, it's definitely one you should at least check out. Well, that was nice. Maybe the next game we'll look at will be even better. So let's take a look at Shrek Smash and Crash Racing for the PS2. Now, right off the bat, when I got this game from Play and Trade, it became clear that the previous owner didn't look after the box art. This doesn't bode well. The game starts up with an incredibly badass montage the first two films to get you pumped up for some kart racing. Believe it or not, this game actually has a story mode. Shrek and Gingerbread Man are having a breath-holding contest when Donkey shows up holding Fairy Godmother's wand.
Careful, Donkey. That's Fairy Godmother's magic wand. You better return it to her.
But wait, if this game takes place after Shrek 2, isn't Fairy Godmother canonically dead? Anyway, through some wacky hijinks, Donkey turns a bunch of things into racing vehicles while also shrinking down his dragon wife with a very derpy face. So yeah, a Shrek kart racer. That'll be something, won't it? Well, regrettably, that opening montage is the best part of the game. Now, when it comes to kart racers, what you need to get right above all else is how it feels to drive your kart. It can't be too realistic like driving an actual car, but it can't be so uncontrollable that you feel like you're driving on butter. What does Smash and Crash Racing do? It takes physics out of the picture entirely and makes your movement extremely precise. Not even kidding, simply turning left or right will make your character perfectly drive in that direction with no drifting required whatsoever. Your movement feels more like the characters were running on foot and nothing like an actual go-kart. Like, you can drive, brake, turn, use items, and that's it. That in itself is bad enough, but even past that, the game is once again so freaking boring. I didn't feel any sort of adrenaline, pressure, or even anxiety racing in this game. It was just me perfectly maneuvering through the tracks without a shred of effort whatsoever. Doesn't help that the soundtrack is also generic as hell. I don't know about you, but the soundtrack is also pretty damn important in a racing game. I mean, the music in a racing game is supposed to get you pumped up, yet this soundtrack just feels so generic. I don't got much else to say. This was just one of the most in one ear, out the other games I've played on the channel, and a severely disappointing kart racer. And that leads us to Shrek the Third on the PS2. Hoo boy. Considering that Shrek the Third is unquestionably the worst Shrek film and one of the worst animated sequels of all time, you'd have every right to assume that the game is about the same level of quality. But would you believe it if I told you that this is actually the best one out of the bunch?
What?
I know, Shrek. I couldn't believe it either. No kidding, Shrek the Third is Shrek 2's licensed game, but better. That was a real sentence, yes. It's a 3D platforming beat-em-up where you collect items and complete objectives with multiple playable characters. Unlike Shrek 2, though, your movement speed is nowhere near as sluggish, the combat feels satisfying to punch people, you can perform finishing moves on stunned enemies, there's a meteor you can use to pull off special moves, there are multiple objectives that let you use everything in your moveset, and the platforming feels way better and like you can actually jump off the ground, unlike in Shrek 2, where it feels exactly like how Shrek jumps, as gracefully as King Hippo. Don't get me wrong, it's still just a standard beat-em-up platformer at the end of the day, but for a licensed game based on Shrek the turd. It's a way better game than it has any right to be. You can even play as the princesses at one point and have Sleeping Beauty make the guards attack each other. What's not to love? So yeah, Shrek the Third is the only one other than Shrek 2 I spent more than an hour on because of how surprised I was on how good it was. And that is saying something. Yeah, I think we can end on a positive note. So until then, my name is Aaron the Wolf, and I hope you—
Oh no, Aaron. You're not done just yet.
What?
You don't get off that easy. There's still one more game you need to look at first.
Oh, come on, Whalley. I looked at, what, 6 games in this video? That's plenty to look at, isn't it?
Oh, come on, Aaron. This one is special. It was on a certain console in 2008. You know what it is, don't you?
Ogres and drunkies?
What the hell? That exists? No. I'm talking about Shrek's Carnival Craze party games.
Yeah, we still got one more game to look at, and wouldn't you know, it's a motion-based carnival game on the Wii starring Shrek. How fun! So the game starts with an intro and— Okay, what the hell? Why do Shrek and Co. look like melting wax figures? I know he's an ogre, but he isn't supposed to look this disgusting. And oh god, Puss in Boots is one of the vilest and most putrid things I think I've ever seen in my life. These cutscenes just look absolutely rancid. There's no other way to describe it. I mean, it was desktop wallpaper material, I'll give them that. You know, seeing as how most of these games are published by Activision, and considering the company and their CEO have been acting like big pieces of shit lately, I initially wanted to make my profile name F Activision, but there weren't enough letters. So I just said screw it and went with— So, is Shrek Carnival Craze party games any good? Well, it's a carnival game that uses motion controls on the Wii in 2008. What the hell do you think? It's one of the worst games I've ever played in my life. Recording footage for this game was one of the most miserable things I've ever had to do in a video before. Let me ask you this. What exactly do carnival games have anything to do with Shrek? Absolutely, positively, most assuredly nothing warrants this game to be a Shrek game. Besides that, this has some of the worst controls in any minigame collection I've ever seen. The perfect example of this is the tricycle minigame. You'll tilt the Wii remote vertically to steer, and you shake the nunchuck as fast as you possibly can to accelerate. Wah! I've had to scream 2 times in this video. Why do so many of these mini games use the nunchuck when they could so easily be done with just the Wii remote? It doesn't help that the sound design is absolute garbage. Just listen to some of these voice clips here.
You're better than you look.
The trick is staying out of the gutter.
I swear to God, I didn't do anything to that voice clip. That's actually how it is in the game. I mean, what more is there to say? It's one of the worst experiences I've had playing a game in a very long time. But do you want to know how much this game costed me? Yes, this miserable mush of mashed up motion mechanics was not only the most expensive game I got at Play and Trade, but it cost the same amount as a Hat in Time does. So basically, I had to talk about this game. Otherwise, I spent $30 for nothing. Yeah, I think I've had enough Shrek for today. I know I'm missing games like Shrek Super Slam, but like, one can only handle so much Shrunk at one time. So with that said, I'm Aaron the Wolf, and please don't be like me and spend nearly $100 on Shrek games. Stay strong, and live life.
Oh, hello there!
There are a lot of Shrek games out there. More than you would think there are. Frankly, it's ironic that the movie that was basically a giant FU to Disney's habits of marketing the crap out of its films would end up doing exactly the same thing. However, instead of a barrage of subpar sequels and live-action remakes, we got a veritable swamp of subpar video games. As such, there are still many Shrek games to discuss. I've already talked about 7 different Shrek games in the past, but I assure you, there are far more layers to this onion than you think. The one realm of Shrek games I've neglected to talk about before is the handheld titles. With that said, I'm Aaron the Wolf, and this is the disgusting world of portable Shrek games. Let's start with not only the first portable Shrek game, but also the first Shrek game ever, releasing 6 months before Shrek's Box. That game is called Shrek Fairy Tale Freakdown for the Game Boy Color. So yeah, this is Shrek's first game, everybody. Doesn't it just look so clean? Also, what exactly is a Fairy Tale Freakdown? Is it supposed to be a pun on breakdown? If that's the case, this will only end up like Shrek at a birthday party. So, in case it wasn't obvious, Fairy Tale Freakdown is a fighting game, I think. You can choose different characters from the movie, with some unlockable as you beat the main arcade mode. Oh god, Shrek, what happened to you?
They took my fucking eyes.
Anyway, how does one play Fairy Tale Freakdown? Honestly, you tell me. This game feels like all those crappy Game Boy ports of other fighting games like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Except where those games at least had the same moves from the arcade versions, this game has virtually no special commands. You just mash the B button to drop kick your opponents in the face over and over again until they decide to give up. Sure, you can unlock special abilities as you progress through the arcade mode, but I never used them since Shrek's Dropkick but I never used them since Shrek's Dropkick works 99% of the time. Oh yeah, and also, this is a Game Boy Color we're talking about, with only 2 buttons, so there's not a lot to work with there. I will mention, this game has that habit of fighting game characters just moon jumping everywhere, in an age that mostly got rid of it. Also, might I mention, you can accidentally jump into bottomless pits and wring yourself out. I'm not even kidding, I was legitimately confused the first few times this happened. The environments all blend together, so I had no idea there was even a pit there at all. As you progress through arcade mode, you'll encounter other characters like the Big Bad Wolf, Gingerbread Man on Candy Cane stilts, a mirror image of yourself, and even the dragon herself. Everyone who said before that Ridley was too big for Smash is a moron, because Shrek Fairy Tale Freakdown did it 17 years earlier. Also, the final boss is Lord Farquaad, which, yeah, the idea of this short supply that is Farquaad overpowering this Giga Chat of an ogre is funnier than Jack Horner being upstaged by Pinocchio at the Oscars. But honestly, what else can I really say about this game? It has about as much depth as a 13-year-old's essay on Moby's dick. But if you want to talk about portable Shrek games, no other handheld has more Shrek games on it than the Game Boy Advance. Now, I'm not interested in the GBA versions of console games like Shrek 2 on the GameCube. I'd like to cover the games made exclusively for the GBA, starting with Shrek Swamp Kart Speedway in 2002. Yeah, every big franchise at one point had a Mario Kart clone back then, so this makes sense. Oh god, why do you look like that, Shrek? Let me tell you, if you had a face like that when scaring off villagers, no one would ever come near your swamp again. Also, is that freaking Comic Sans? I guess it's just gonna be one of those days. Right off the bat, I must say that this game's sound design is atrocious. It somehow makes Fairy Tale Freakdown sound like Hi-Fi Rush by comparison. Just listen to this music. And if you think it's bad there, just wait till you hear what the actual game sounds like. If Shrek Carnival Craze Party Games was torture for my arms, Shrek Swamp Kart Speedway is torture for my eyes and ears. This is the kind of thing that Shrek the Third fans like to listen to at night. Once you get past that, the game is just Mario Kart Super Circuit, but just way worse. I mean, Super Circuit is already kind of a meh game to begin with, but at least the sound design is nice and easy on the ears. Swamp Kart Speedway is just a sensory overload in every way possible, especially with some of the later stages. No joke, I legitimately felt sick and wanted to vomit playing this game. Imagine you took the trippiest special stage from Sonic CD, put it on the GBA with far worse graphics, and played any annoying video game sound effect you can think of, you'd get Swamp Kart Speedway. So yeah, put all that together and you got yourself a bad time playing this game. Next we have Shrek Hassle at the Castle for the GBA. This title screen music is just giving me weird vibes. I don't know why, but it's just making me uncomfortable. Oh boy, here comes the freaky giant heads from Shrek Super Party again. Yay, more nightmare fuel. Jeez, as if Funko Pops couldn't get any freakier. But aside from the weird music, this game is actually pretty alright. It plays decently, the sound design is easy on the ears, and overall, it's an okay time. I mean, it's not great, and there's no reason to play this nowadays, but it's alright. In this game, you can beat the hell out of Duloc guards, you have a super meter that you can use to scare off everyone on screen, and there are specific escort missions where you help one of the pigs of Red Riding Hood get to the end, and you can even play as Donkey. Other than that, however, the game is still not that great. I got to this one level where you have to chase and catch the Farquaad mascot, where I started to see how stiff the jumping is. It reminds me a lot of Shrek 2 on the GameCube. It feels way too heavy. I know he's an ogre, but that's not the point. And if you don't jump at the very last moment, you're not making it. This results in a bunch of screwing around, causing the clock to run out. Oh yeah, there's a time limit in this game. Why? For what reason? Why put a time limit in the game if there's no reason for it? And so, I could never catch the mascot no matter how much I tried. There's really not much to this one. As I said before, Shrek 2 was released on both consoles and handhelds, but there was actually another version of Shrek 2 Game Boy Advance released exclusively for the handheld, Shrek 2 Beg for Mercy, starring Puss in Boots. I'm just gonna go ahead and pick my language real quick. So yeah, the ROM I got for this game was from another country, and I didn't realize that before I started playing. Am I going to find the right version of this game? No, because this is funnier. I'll just pick Spanish, I don't care. Barring the language barrier for a moment, this game starts by telling us about Puss in Boots before the movie's events, before the actual Puss in Boots prequel. As for the game itself, it's a game where Puss in Boots has no face, runs around while jumping and meowing all the time, collecting coins, and fighting off villagers who also have no face and flying mutant pumpkins. This honestly doesn't feel like a Shrek game at all due to the fog, spooky atmosphere, and creepy trees with the eyes in the background. Why did they stop there? Why not add zombies, ghosts, wicked witches, and skeletons? They should have just called it
Boo! Haunted house.
Anyway, Puss meets up with the king to take the offer to kill Shrek, and as for Shrek himself, yep, I don't blame King Harold at all with that face. Also, wait, we're playing as Shrek now? I thought this was a Puss in Boots game, and we're back in the same stock spooky areas from before? Ugh, this is worse than Puss's hairball vomit. Also, when Shrek dies, he just sits down and just thinks about what went wrong in his life. Yeah, overall, this game is pretty bland and forgettable. Guess I'll just put Shrek out of his misery. Shrek is lost, Shrek is dead. More at 11. But before Shrek died, he was wreaking havoc in Shrek Wreaking Havoc on the Real Boy Advance. You know, I'm really starting to get sick of all these Shrek games, but let's press on. Shrek Wreaking Havoc is loosely based on the plot of Shrek 4D, The Ghost of Farquaad, and as it turns out, we get to play as Fiona this time. But wait a minute, Fiona's still a human here. Didn't the curse break at the end of the first movie? And her turning into an ogre is just never addressed in this? What kind of fucked up alternate universe shit is this? Fiona doesn't seem too happy about it either, so she decides to beat up anyone who crosses her path. Just look at her face, she's pissed as hell. She even takes out her frustrations on Pinocchio, which somehow turns him into a real boy? What? At this point, trying to question anything about these games is worthless. Anything goes in Shrek licensed games. Now we're in the woods, and this is where I realized that this is one of those games that make you say, where the hell do I go? I'm not even kidding, man. I wandered around for half an hour trying to find my way out of this place to no avail. Every part of this forest looks the same, so I don't know where anything is. I honestly stopped caring by this point, so I just did the sensible thing and put Fiona out of this torturous hell. let's take a break from portable Shrek games to look at some console Shrek games I neglected to look at in the past, like Shrek Forever After on the Wii. And considering that Shrek Carnival Craze Party Games was an absolute disaster, it can only get so much better from here, right? Well, yeah, but not by much. Shrek Forever After on Wii opens up with the exact same opening narration from the film, which quickly transitions to Rumpelstiltskin summarizing more plot by playing with his statues?
Roar! I'm Shrek, and I wanted my old ogre life back so bad that I actually traded it for the day I was born.
Lord Helmet, what? You need it on the bridge, sir. Knock on my door! Knock next time! Yes, sir. Did you see anything? No, sir. I didn't see you playing with your dolls again. Good!
Also, can I just say that I am legitimately sick of hearing this fake-ass Mike Myers impersonator in every Shrek game?
Feels good to be the real me again.
He always sounds like he's about to sneeze and I hate it. So what is the actual gameplay like? Well, it's a top-down RPG where you switch between 4 different characters that all do one unique thing, and yeah, that's pretty much it. This is one of the dullest and most forgettable games I've ever played. Frankly, the only thing worth talking about it is that since the game is on the Wii, the pointer cursor is a red sniper dot. Because I guess Shrek wants to die that badly. Man, I don't even know why I'm still playing this. Hang on. The magic mirror can transport Shrek back to his original timeline?
Smell that? Yes, it's the swampy home you left behind, Shrek.
What? You're telling me that the magic mirror could have sent Shrek back to his original timeline the whole time? Where was this mirror when Shrek needed him in the movie? Is this just some sort of illusion? Did Doctor Strange take his family and install him in a New York sanctum? This makes no sense! I rest my case. Anything goes in these games, so I think I'm just gonna quit before I have an aneurysm. Puss in Boots on the Wii! That's it. That's the transition. Just cut right to the game. The game starts with a pretty cool animated intro that recaps the movie's beginning, complete with the great value version of Antonio Banderas.
The men gave up what they knew, that the bandits Jack and Jill had somehow found the magic beans.
And as for the game itself, I mean, I think it speaks for itself, doesn't it? It's another Wii game that uses the motion controls as a gimmick. You just waggle the Wiimote to take out all the enemies on the screen. There's no real strategy involved. You can kick the enemies into barrels and other precarious objects, but that's it. And suddenly, without transition, we're performing a song for the señorita. And with these motion controls, I'm sure it'll be the best love song since Every Breath You Take. I call this one La Convulsión del Gato.
No, my love, you're not dreaming.
Moving on. So, why does the game play like this? Well, it turns out that this is also an Xbox Kinect game and a PlayStation Move supported game. So yeah, the game from the ground up is designed to be played by swinging your hands around. And honestly, that says everything I need to about the game. It's a motion-based gimmick game. I guess they can't all be as innovative as The Last Wish. Now, there are Shrek mobile games that came out on iPhone a few years back, like Shrek Alarm and Pocket Shrek, but unfortunately, there is absolutely no way to play these games nowadays, which is a massive shame. That said, I did want to talk about the most obscure Shrek game I could get my hands on, Shrek 2 Ogre Bowler on PC. This game is a Shrek spin-off of Polar Bowler released for Shrek 2 in 2004. I had never heard of Polar Bowler before making this, but it seemed like such an anomaly that I had to check it out, and that itself was quite an experience. The first thing that came up when I searched for the game was its store page on Wild Tangent Games. It also apparently cost $9.99 to play it. Now you may think, you're not gonna pay $10 for a stupid Shrek bowling game, right? Honey, I paid $30 for Shrek Carnival Craze party games. I don't exactly have integrity with this kind of stuff. However, I had to create an account for the website to purchase the game. My first name is Shrek. Last name is Love. And just like that, I have my own desktop shortcut for the game. Finally, I can place this game right next to my other favorite family-friendly PC game, Doom 93. But one must wonder, was buying the game legally for $10, signing up for an obscure game service, and just generally caring about putting this game in the video worth it? Did it mean anything?
No! You dense, irritating miniature beast of burden!
To start with, anytime I tried to put the game in full screen, it broke my capture software. So, we gotta play it like this. And once I finally played it, it's just bowling. Except it has some of the worst controls I've ever seen for a PC game. You can move the ball after you launch it from the slingshot, except the controls are so goddamn slippery that it's impossible to keep the ball's path straight. I will personally ship to you all of the onions in the world if you can tell me how to control this game properly and get a strike in every round. But it's not fucking happening. How did they release so many garbage games for this franchise? Every single game I played in this video has been mediocre at best to agonizing at worst. I don't even know how long I can stomach these games, so I'll just call it here. Until then, my name is Aaron the Wolf, and I hope that you...
Oh no, Aaron. You are far from done, my friend.
Whalley? No. We're not doing this bit again. Besides, there can't possibly be any more Shrek games to talk about.
Oh, you can't keep hiding away from it, Aaron. You and I both know there's still one more game you've yet to look at.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, so that's how we're gonna play it then, Fine.
No. No! 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 Shrek, Ogres, and Dronkies on the DS. Let's just get this over with. So we got this incredibly hideous low poly opening where Shrek and Fiona get a message through a jack-in-the-box. At this point, I'm done questioning it.
Just talk, you know what, right? Okay, here goes. Hello? Hi! It's me, Pinocchio! Oh, actually, this is Tom from Mushroom Kingdom! Oh, yeah!
Well, at least I went for it. So Shrek and Fiona must go back to far, far away for an important royal tour or something like that. That means we have to watch the kids while they're gone. Yes, Ogres and Dronkies is a babysitting simulator where we care for baby ogres and these abominations. All it needs is a green diamond above everyone's head, and we be in a Shrek version of The Sims. The Shrimps. In this game, you put toys on the floor for the kids to pick up and play with, and you can play mini games, and you can play outside, and it's awful. It's so fucking awful! It's all been over, and every single one of them sucks! I have dealt with my fair share of awful Shrek games in the past. Shrek Treasure Hunt, Super Party, Carnival Craze party games, Fairy Tale Freakdown, Swamp Kart Speedway, Ogre Bowler, but this is officially the last straw. Somebody needs to pay.
I'm sick of your shit! Oh, you're really gonna get? Yeah. Eat this, Shrek!
You like jazz?
How are there so many bad Shrek games? You were the chosen one, Shrek! It was said that you would mock Disney, not become them! Mock them for over-marketing their properties! Not do the same yourself! Dude, I just want a good Shrek game for once. Is that too much to ask? Whatever. I guess we might as well look at this stupid game real quick. Shrek Super Slam, a Smash Bros. Clone. I mean, I've already hit rock bottom with these games, so how much worse could it get? Let's find out. Alright, Shrek Super Slam. Wait a minute. It's still a Smash Bros. Clone, but the controls are tight and responsive. The mechanics make for some engaging fights. The story mode has a bunch of unique stories that lead to fights. The dialogue is entertaining. The stages themselves are interactable with tons of breakable set pieces. Some items are actually fun to use, and overall, it's a fun time? Hallelujah. 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 It's a good game. I can't believe my eyes. A Shrek game that's actually good. I mean, it's nothing amazing, but it's the best Shrek game I've ever played in my life. It's a miracle. There is a God, and this is the proof. A good Shrek game. I'm speechless. I mean, I don't even know what to say. It's good. It's good. They didn't fuck it up. Until then, everyone, my name is Aaron the Wolf, and let's all give a massive thank you to our Lord and Savior, Shrek. Stay strong and live life.
This is Aaron the Wolf. Look, I don't have much time. I can hear somebody walking up the stairs. Oh, God. It smells like onions in here. Oh, God. Oh, God, I think Shrek and his cult might be after me. Look, please send help, all right? The location is...
Hey, everyone. My name is Aaron the Wolf, and happy Halloween. It's been a while since I've done a Halloween video. 4 years, as a matter of fact. So, what better way to celebrate the holiday than by focusing on Shrek again? After all, Halloween is Shrek's favorite holiday, so I thought it was appropriate. That said, I've covered every major Shrek licensed game out there. Sure, there are some I haven't covered, but none of them I have any interest in looking at, to be honest. So, how exactly am I going to do a third Shrek video? Well, there are always other Shrek games we could look at. That's right, we're diving into the weird, downright insane world of Shrek fan games that can be found online. Considering how loyal and passionate people are about Shrek, they're bound to make some weird-ass stuff out of their love for the muddy green ogre. But I'm sure we'll be fine. I mean, it's not like there's a Shrek cult out there making all these games. So with that said, let's take a look at the horrifying world of Shrek fan games. So before we get to the actual fan games, we have some official Flash games published by DreamWorks themselves on Shrek.com. These games were taken down eventually, but thanks to the internet, we're still able to play them online. Oh joy. First up is Shrek Shreds, a skateboarding game. Yeah, this was still around the time skateboarding was incredibly popular in terms of sports. Funny enough, Shrek was also in Tony Hawk's Underground 2 to promote Shrek 2. This makes sense, since Activision owned the game licenses to both Shrek and Tony Hawk back in the day. On to the actual game, we just gotta choose my board and we'll be right as rain.
Ah!
So yeah, you're Shrek, skateboarding around far, far away, jumping over bushes and wagons, scoring as many points as possible in a short time. That's pretty much it, gameplay-wise. But yeah, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater this ain't. You bail if so much as a balcony breathes on you wrong, not helped by the not great controls. I mean, I'm playing on a keyboard for most of these, so what'd you expect? Also, why are Donkey and Puss standing in the street waiting to be hit by Shrek? Fiona's watching from a balcony, but this stubborn jackass is waiting for Shrek to run him over with his sheer ogre mass. Maybe he's a masochist who wants to see if he can take it. Other than that, not much to say. Just a dumb promotional game. Next is Shrek and Slide, a promotional flash game for Shrek the Third, which is everybody's favorite Shrek film. So the whole game is pretty much just go fast through the mud and see how far you can make it. Alright. Ah! Holy crap, what is happening? I feel like that one Zestfully Clean commercial, but instead of soap, it's Shrek's swamp mud. Why do Shrek and Puss look so disappointed in you? You didn't get muddy enough from the slide or something? Also, how are there so many crowns just scattered all across Shrek's swamp? Did King Harold keep losing his crowns from paying off Fairy Godmother or something? I don't know. There also isn't much to this one, sadly. Laddie, you didn't pass the mud test. So I'm making you watch Shrek the Third. This is...
Welcome to Shrek's Ogre Art. Art thou ready?
I haven't even played 5 seconds and I'm already regretting my life choices. This is just a digital coloring book. You think there's anything more to it? No! Regardless, I still drew a picture. I call it King Shrek in his demon swamp with a tree. Also, Prince Charming was there. Perhaps Charles Chatternet from Red Dead Redemption 2 will take it. The last DreamWorks Flash game we'll be looking at is The Battle of the Belch. This one has a little more to it at least. You and Fiona compete to see who can belch the longest, and honestly, I think this footage speaks for itself. Alright, enough official Flash games. Let's get to the good stuff. The games that were not made by DreamWorks, but by random members of the public, not for any promotional reason, just because they wanted to. So, let's all take a look at...
Guys, come on, this isn't some funny, haha, look at Aaron, pretend that he's in trouble. No, this is fucking serious! I can literally hear someone coming up the stairs right now, alright? The location...
Shrek Ambulance. Oh boy, what a title screen this is. Also, I can't help but notice the Shrek in the logo is from Shrek the Musical. I really hate how the S has show lights while the rest of it doesn't. It makes the whole logo really distracting. And what the hell is up with this music? Like, I know we're playing a game called Shrek Ambulance, but the music just feels so out of place. As far as the actual game itself is concerned, it's pretty basic in terms of doctor games. Bandage him, give him a shot, read his pulse, etc. These kinds of doctor games plague kids' Flash game sites, often being extremely unpleasant in the process, so let's just play something else. Sort My Tiles. Admittedly, I played this one because I had no idea what to expect from the title alone, but as it turns out though, it's just a tile puzzle game. That's all there is to it. Oh, but there is a sound effect that plays every time you place a tile in the correct spot. Because that never gets annoying. Next! Shrek Fun. Shrek Fun, Shrek Fun, Shrek Fun! I like Shrek Fun! I want to have Shrek Fun! And it's Minecraft. I feel like I've been catfished. What's worse is that I can't even play this one. I keep pressing play, but nothing happens. Come on, Shrek Fun! Where's the Shrek Fun? Well, I expected nothing, and I'm still let down. Shrek and Fiona Wedding. What should an ogre wear for a wedding? I have absolutely no clue. Maybe my friends Donkey and Puss know better than me. This is a game where you get Shrek and Fiona ready for their wedding. But wait a minute, if Puss in Boots is here, then shouldn't they already be married? I don't get it. But whatever. We can choose different outfits, like Shrek in his briefs, a Suns basketball jersey, okay, his king outfit from Shrek the Third, a Santa Claus outfit, or his regular outfit. Alright then, you know what? I think this king outfit will be perfect for our wedding day. oops, wrong choice, go back and redo it. Excuse me, Fiona, this is my damn wedding too, and at my wedding, we dress like clowns from the 17th century! Okay, fine. Here, Shrek's in the outfit he always wears. Then you just pick a dress for Fiona and they have their wedding. Is this really what someone wanted to put out into the world? A wedding dress-up game that doesn't even let you pick the outfits you want? That's just sad. Ooh, speaking of dress-up games, Fiona's Double Makeover. It's exactly what you think it is. You do the makeup for Fiona and put her in a dress, once as a human and again as an ogre. And that is all she wrote. What am I doing with my life? Alright, enough of these crappy Flash games. I want to focus on the more interesting fan games. You know, the ones that you have to download from the internet to play in the first place. Like Shrek Run. Oh my god. This is certainly a lot to take in at once. Shrek running through a field of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnsons. Well, if this is what the title screen looks like, then I just can't wait to play the game itself.
Don't you? Resist buffs. Eat 'em up, beat 'em up, beat 'em up. Don't you? Resist buffs.
No, really, I don't even know what to say about this. I mean, I feel like it deserves no explanation at all. Just look at it. Look at it!
Look at it! Look at it! Look at it! Look at it! I want all of you to look at it!
Let's just move on, because the less that I say about this game, the better. Next is Shrek Playtime is Ogre 2, and finally, we have a normal one. The game takes a lot of assets and sprites from Shrek Fairy Tale Freakdown on the Game Boy Color, but surprisingly, it's the most well-made game we've seen so far. It controls pretty decently, the reused sprites work pretty well with the game, and it at least plays like an actual video game. That said, there are still some issues. Some of these Thelonious clones all throw axes at you, which causes knockback. My favorite. Although I am still playing this on a keyboard, I think this game has controller support, so I guess I'll have to play it again that way. But overall, not bad at all. Yeah, overall, that was a pretty solid game. Maybe the next one will be just as good. What the hell was that? Moving on. Why don't we get to the good stuff? The kind of games that people think of whenever they think of Shrek fan games. Like Shrek's Basement. In case you couldn't tell, this is a clone of Slender the 8 Pages, but instead of collecting pages, you collect onions. I'm just gonna go ahead and pick up the first onion here. Ah yes, stock source engine sound effects. Very classy. So tell me, what kind of basement is this exactly? And why does Shrek have a basement? Oh god! A T-posing Shrek! That's my worst nightmare! Nah, but really, a default pose Shrek chasing you with a heartbeat playing in the background isn't exactly what I find scary. I'm not a villager from Shrek 1. Oh, hello, Dad! By the way, why are we even looking for these onions in the first place? Are these the last onions on Earth? Do supermarkets not exist anymore? I don't even like onions! This is stupid. I found Slender the 8 Pages boring, and the same applies to this. So, yeah, I think I'm ready to move on. Alright, what else we got? Shrong? What the hell's Shrong? Oh, okay, it's Shrek Pong, I guess, and... Next! Swamp Keeper. Is this some sort of farming simulator? Oh, nope. It's a game about scaring off the villagers. Yes! Run! Run away from my onion breath and mud-smelling body odor! There's not a lot to this one, but honestly, I love it. This was the kind of relief I needed. Thank you, Swamp Keeper. Shrek 5, The Shrekkening. I mean, if you're anything like me, you just have to know what is behind this glorious title screen. Let's give it a look then. Look, I don't have anything else to say other than how the hell does a game like this have multiplayer? Ugh, I genuinely don't know how much more I could stomach, so let's play one last game and call it a night. Between you and me, I think I've saved the best one for last. Shrek in the Shadows. Well, right off the bat, I'm not too sure about this title screen. This is a horror game, right? That's not the pose of a serial killer. It's someone waiting for the bus in the pouring rain. We wake up in the middle of the night in a cabin. Someone's cut the power off and we have to go fix it. I admittedly didn't realize that an objective was displayed in the bottom left corner here, so I wandered off into the wooden log maze next to the cabin. You know, as any camping site would naturally have. Once I realized I messed up, I reloaded the save and managed to get the power back on. Time to go back inside.
Ah, help, run!
We go inside and the bastard somehow managed to run off with my apple. Which naturally means we should go through the wooden log maze again. After another jump scare, we find the apple and eat it. Now we must go to the well behind the cabin to get some water. Another maze trip later, we find the well, but it's broken. So we need a hammer that's back at the end of the maze. Really? You're making me go back again? I go through the maze again to get the hammer and go through it yet again to repair the well. Finally, we can go back to the cabin and sleep. But uh-oh, it's a nightmare involving Shrek. Honestly, I don't even care enough to pretend to be scared. Come on, this isn't scary at all. Not even when Shrek finally shows up and chases us. You could at least make him move unnaturally and not just like a casual businessman, who's definitely not a cop. Care to guess what the mission is now? Just take a guess. No, you're wrong. It's collecting onions again. And even better, the onions are located inside the maze, meaning we have to traverse it for the 6th time in a row. And what is it with Shrek horror games always requiring you to collect onions? It's always onions. Forget what I said about this one being the best. It's just more of the same old shit. Okay, no more. That is all that I can take with these fan games. They're just all over the place. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to go celebrate Halloween properly. So until then, my name is Aaron the Wolf, and I hope you...
Oh, I don't think so.
No! Stop it, Whalley! Every single time you interrupt my Shrek video, you always have some dumbass game for me to play. Well, you know what? No. I'm done. I'm not gonna play whatever stupid, moronic, mediocre, disgusting, downright horrifying game you have for me, okay? Go away. I don't want to see you.
Oh, you shouldn't have said that, laddie. Now you're paid the price. I'm about to make you love me until the end of time.
Oh, shit.
If I don't make it, there's something that I have to tell you about. I think that God of War 2018 is kind of overrated, to be honest. I really don't think it's as good as everyone says it is. He's in the room. No. Hey, let go of me! No!
Oh, hello there.
Oh, great ogre, oh, holy green one, cleanse this mortal soul with your holy mud baths.
Love. Shrek is life. Shrek is love. Shrek is life. Shrek is love. Shrek is life. Shrek is love. Shrek is life.